And welcome back to Hannity. So President-elect Trump put out a video last night detailing what he's going to do in his first 100 days in office. And here's just a few of the policy plans. Take a look.
On trade, I am going to issue our notification of intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a potential disaster for our country. I will cancel job-killing restrictions on the production of American energy, including shale energy and clean coal, creating many millions of high-paying jobs. On regulation, I will formulate a rule which says that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. On immigration, I will direct the Department of Labor to investigate all abuses of visa programs that undercut the American worker.
Here now with reaction, RNC Chief Strategist and Communications Director Sean Spicer and Fox News contributor Monica Crowley. What I like the most about it is, okay, trade, energy, regulation, national security, immigration, ethics reform, draining the swamp. It was every campaign promise. Following up on a promise, to me, is really important.
That's right. What I think the president-elect understands is that the first 100 days are crucial. He's got to move with all deliberate speed because he will have a honeymoon period, but it will be relatively short. Maybe shorter than most presidents.
The left is already, they're salivating on attacking him.
But he does have control of the Senate and the House. So in the first 100 days, he's got to do a couple of things that he just laid out, primarily laying out a pro-growth economic agenda. That means tax reform and regulatory reform, cutting marginal tax rates, the corporate tax rate, getting that money repatriated back, also regulatory reform, rolling back those executive orders that President Obama put into place, and on the national security side. If he can get those 2 cornerstones in place in the first 100 days, as well as fill the Supreme Court vacancy, rolling back Obamacare, repealing and replacing that, he will be well on his way to getting this economy roaring again. And once he does that, Sean, then he shuts up all of his critics. How long does it take, though? It took Reagan, what, 2.5 years until we really started to see the benefits?
Well, look, I mean, these are executive actions. You haven't seen anything yet. This isn't even the legislative agenda. This is day one executive action.
How long is he going to be signing his name, rescinding all of Obama's bad work?
I think the inaugural parade is going to have to go on without him. Yeah. But this is real change right away. This isn't waiting for Congress. This is stuff that he can do on all of those fronts right away. But it reminds people, to your point, that what he campaigned on, he's going to deliver on. And I think that's important because he talked about change. And if you didn't hear it out of that, the lobbying ban is huge. It's so forward-thinking. It says if you want to serve in a Trump administration, you need to serve this country, not yourself. For 5 years, you can't be a lobbyist. For the rest of your life, you can't serve a foreign government.
Why were some Republicans trying to bring back earmarks last week?
Well, I mean,
what was that?
I just think that the tone is going to change and the actions are going to back it up. We are going to see a government that works for the American people, that's focused on jobs. And finally, to your point, somebody who goes in there and says, I'm going to show you what happens when you do exactly what you say you're going to do. And I think the country's going to reward him for it.
I think that's where Republicans have gone wrong with the American people. In fairness to Republicans, they promised repeal, replace Obamacare, a lot of show votes, but when it came to putting teeth into it, using the power of the purse, their constitutional enumerated power, they didn't use it. Or stopping executive amnesty. They ended up funding it.
And this is why Donald Trump is now the president-elect of the United States. He became the Republican nominee for exactly that reason. Because Republicans, independents, disaffected Democrats, they looked at the bipartisan ruling class and said, you are all corrupt. We are sick of all of y'all because you never have delivered on what you have promised us on both sides. And we are now going to try something completely different.
You're filling in for me tomorrow. Thank you.
Tomorrow night,
You're
yes.
the best. I know our audience loves you. Sean, good to see you. You deserve a big congratulations. I know how hard you work. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, coming up later tonight, I'll go one-on-one with BuzzFeed reporter Rosie Gray about the alt-left and alt-right that she talks about. But first tonight,
A Trump administration will end this nightmare of violence. We will stop illegal immigration.
President-elect Donald Trump promised voters that he would deport all criminal illegal immigrants, but liberals, they're trying to stand in his way and are now soliciting the help of President Obama. We'll check in with Sheriff David Clark, Mercedes Schlapp, and much more tonight here on Hannity.